What's up, everyone? Welcome into your Celtic Source. A quick reaction here to Game 1 between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Right out the gate, I was frustrated with, just the free throw, the referees calling stuff on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? Like, he's getting too many questionable foul calls, especially from Mark Lindsay, the head referee, right? He's consistently calling soft calls in SGA's favor. And, some of these are legit fouls, for sure, but it's the playoffs. You gotta let some things go. Some of these weren't even basketball plays, like just flopping, going down on just non-contact almost. You know, there were some plays where Julius Randle and Jaden McDaniels definitely, got into him a little too much, grabbed him. But for the most part, it's not even about fairness. Both teams got calls, but it's about the quality and the viewing experience. Like, nobody wants to see the Thunder win because SGA is going to the line 25 times. Like, they want to see SGA play correctly and win that way. Like, I don't think people have a problem with the Thunder as a whole. It's when the Thunder win because of some of these just terrible, terrible calls. You know, um, but I really think they should remove Mark Lindsay from the series just because his style of calling stuff is just not fitting the intensity of these matchups. You know, But other than that, this is going to be a fun series. I think. You know, you know, a showcase between two face of the league candidates and Anthony Edwards and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who are both strong defenders and obviously elite offensive talents. You know, there's definitely competitive tension between Anthony Edwards and SGA. I think they value each other's game and just what it brings to the league. But I definitely think there is some hatred for one another. I wouldn't say like it's worth fighting about, but there's definitely going to be some. I think some trash talk towards each other for sure in this matchup. Um, Also a big series between Julius Randle and Jalen Williams. Um, you know, both of them are sort of that right hand man to the 1A guy on the teams. Both can provide good defense. Obviously, J Dub's an elite defender. I think he'll make the All NBA team or defensive team, probably second team. He'll probably take that last spot on the second team. Julius Randle's a little bit bigger, right? He's gonna guard more of bigger centers and whatever. Um, but about this game specifically, it was a tale of two halves, right? In the first half, Minnesota looked pretty dominant. Coming off, I think that extra couple of days of rest helped. Uh, Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, they were comfortable against OKC's defense. But in that second half, as we've seen OKC do multiple times throughout the season, they adjusted and they just put on a defensive clinic in that second half. And then that went right into their offense, scoring 70 points. Julius Randle, right, a dominant offensive first half, exploiting smaller defenders like Alex Caruso. Ant was largely unstoppable in that first half as well, getting to spots, only limited by, shot making and kickouts, right? Obviously, OKC doubled a lot. They took the ball out of Anthony Edwards' hands. And in the first half, the Wolves role players made them pay. But in that second half, they went a little cold. And it got much harder for them, as we've seen OKC do countless times throughout the season. Absolutely shut down any chance of the Wolves holding on to this a slight lead. Right, their defensive pressure, their foul troubles, they wore down Minnesota over time. Anthony Edwards got tired; he had to take breaks, which is why I'm worried about this series. I had the Wolves winning in 7, and I still think, obviously it's just one game, but the Wolves have to find a way to stay energized and make plays down the stretch, because I think any bucket you can get is going to help them so much against, a team that really basically eliminates all offense from the opposing players in those fourth quarters. Right? A lot of these games, OKC, right, they win almost 70 games, not because of their great scoring. There were not that many blowouts from OKC throughout the season. It was more, in those fourth quarters, they just absolutely stifled any offense from the other team. More on their defense, right? Packing the paint, making gambles, stealing deflections, overloading, the strong side where the ball is, and the Wolves were unable to, swing it to the other side in time for open shots. They gave up, a couple threes. Minnesota attempted 51, which is, so much. I don't know if they're going to try that again. They were sort of banking on the Wolves missing, which they did down the stretch. But more importantly, OKC forced 19 turnovers and converted them into 31 points. And that's basically the difference in this game, right? I mean, the 3-point percentage, 51 threes taken by Minnesota, 21 by OKC. So, had the Wolves made, a couple more of those, maybe it's a closer game. But just the points in the paint on, transition, fast breaks, right? 51 or 54 for OKC and just 20 for Minnesota. Right? The 19 turnovers, really costly when you're trying to hold on to a lead, because it gives OKC free points without taking too much time off the clock, right? And the bench shooting struggles obviously really hurt Minnesota's chances in this game. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here. We will do reactions after every game. Obviously, tonight we have Knicks versus Pacers, and we'll do a reaction probably tomorrow morning for that as well. And until next time.
It's over. Time to say it again, Boston. Anything's possible. Banner number 18 has been secured.